Okay, I want to introduce you to Cheri Black. Cheri Black is just an inspirational story. She came to us through our church at New Life in Christ. She came from the Kentucky Department of Corrections, and her story is just remarkable. But she will get into all those details. But she came to us from KCIW, I think it was, Women's Correctional Facility. Came to Dearson House, and there's where she met Pastor D. And from there, as you know, that's the rest of the story, because once she met Pastor D, it was on. You know, it was good. And so Cheri came through one of our mentor groups in Lexington, Kentucky, and worked with LaVice and me and a couple other people, and she has just done very, very well. She completed recovery programs and things like that. And she recently completed our mentor training program, and she will become one of our mentors here in the near future. I want to give a warm welcome to Cheri Black, please.
Let me just tell you a little bit about myself and the beginning of my journey. I don't have a sob story. I was raised in a good home. Mom and Dad were there all the time. It was a nice home with everything. I was spoiled rotten. But then in 1976, my little brother died in the car I was driving. And there's where it all started. After that, it went a little crazy, you know, and I went a little crazy. That's where I started dabbling in the drugs and just trying to find, I can't look at my husband, just trying to find a way to get the edge off of that pain. And the guilt, I was driving. So, you know, drinking, smoking a little weed. I was always a Brady cat, so I didn't go much deeper than that for a long time. But I still kind of roamed, you know, and got lost. And then, we'll fast forward just a little bit. I have 3 beautiful children. I have 2 girls and a boy. And even that wasn't enough to wake me up. I continued to make bad choices other than the choice of their fathers as well. So things just progressed on, and then I had some medical issues, and they started giving me pain pills. So they gave me pain pills before, they gave me pain pills afterwards. That was June of '94, and then they told me that would probably come back, and sure enough, in October it came back. I started on a steady diet of pain pills from October until February when they gave me a complete hysterectomy. So by the time they quit giving me pain pills, I was hooked. I'd taken them for months. Besides being physically addicted, I was mentally addicted. It took the edge off of the little aches and pains, and something's bothering me or somebody's making me angry. Well, take pills, it'll be better. So I self-medicated like that for years and years and years. And then in 2007, the medicine that I normally took, well, I couldn't find it anywhere. So that's when I bumped up and got a little more serious and started taking methadone. This part's really hard, and I don't normally share this part, but sometimes, especially at something like this, I feel like I need to share just how dark my world became so that you can see the light that I'm in now. And I had 2 grandchildren, a little boy and a little girl. They were just, any of you grandparents in here know what I'm talking about, just bam, just pure joy. My daughter, you know, daughters are easier than daughter-in-laws, and my daughter shared her baby with me so generous. Anytime I wanted Addie, Brooks, can I come get her? Sure, Mom. What else is she going to say? But, so we had her quite a lot. And in October, they had moved in with us. And in October, Brooks wanted to go out and celebrate her 21st birthday. Sure, I'll keep Addie. So we have our typical night. We played, and she had dinner, and gave her a bottle, and put her to bed. And my Addie never woke up. And I say, somewhere in all these written words, that my angel truly became an angel that night. So we go through the next 6 weeks of our life just in pure misery, just as miserable as humans can be. And at the end of November, they came to us, and the police wanted to do a follow-up interview. Well, sure, no problem. Nothing crossed my mind. I didn't think anything about it. Well, when I got down there through a long series of interviews and discussions, I found out that Addie had gotten a hold of one of my methadone pills, and that's what took her life. And, oh my God, what else do you say, So that night I was charged with wanton murder. I was placed under a $250,000 bond and arrested and put in jail. And I'd never been in trouble in my life. Never even took a tour of the jail, much less a couple minutes there. And I'm walking into this really dark jail cell with a really flat, cold mat. Just devastated. I was forgetting how to breathe. I was just, it was crazy. So for the next year, that jail cell was my home. I lived and ate and slept and everything in this one little concrete room. And a lot of people say that was much more than I deserved, Woke up the next morning and withdrawals are starting. The horror of what have I done? What have I done? What happened here? Other inmates just knew the tip of the story and cussed me out. How could you do that to that baby? And as dark as I thought it was in that jail cell, my life was just so much darker, So I'm getting off. In that year, they let me go outside to go across to court once in a while, and that was the only fresh air you really got. Excuse me. But so then, December 1st of 2011, I was sentenced to 10 years for a plea bargain of manslaughter, second degree, 10 years in prison. So at least things were starting to progress a little bit. Within 3 weeks, I got really lucky, and within 3 weeks, I was sent to KCIW. And got to KCIW, and I thought, oh my goodness, this isn't bad. To walk around outside and get some fresh air and see the birds and the trees. And it's a pretty campus to be in prison. But then about 6 weeks later, I got a rude awakening, and I got transferred to Western Kentucky Correctional Complex in Fredonia, Kentucky. When I wrote this out, I wrote AKA hell, because that place was awful, awful. So they moved me outside the fence, as they call it, because it is literally outside the fence. And I started work on a tree farm. That wasn't bad. We got to get in a van and travel about 15 miles, and one guard and a bunch of silly women, and a lot of hard, hot work. We were tending little tiny baby trees, weeding and taking care of them because they were going to be sold on this tree farm. So that went on for a little while, and then I went back up to the main area and tried to do substance abuse program. Well, that substance abuse program was basically run by other inmates, and I didn't do well with that. I didn't do well with it at all. So they ejected me from their program. Thank you, goodbye. And I got transferred to another dormitory with 50 women. And, you know, at the time I didn't really see all this, but God was with me the whole time. I got put at the end of a row. There's 50 women in each wing, and I was put at the end of the row back in the corner, and I got just the tiniest little piece of privacy back there. And then another blessing was that I got to enroll in horticulture school, which is absolutely my passion. So I spent the next 14 months back in this little secluded corner and going to school. I was in the greenhouse Monday through Friday, just loving that, and going back to the classroom in the afternoons. But don't let me paint this as a rosy picture, because I was locked up with Faye Foster, who is Kentucky's only female mass murderer. I was locked up with Kathy Coy, who cut a baby out of its mother's stomach and took it. Another woman I was there with had burned her baby and wrapped it in plastic and put it in the closet. And all I could do was just kind of keep my head down, pray really hard every day, and try not to judge, because what was I there for? It might have been an accident, but I was still there because a life had been taken. So I got through that. It went by pretty quick. Went back out to the MSU, minimum security unit, and I had asked this girl. She told me she had been locked up 3 times. I said, "How do you do this and keep doing it?" She said, "Well, let me tell you, OG." She said, "I just pretend like I'm on a really bad vacation." I said, "Okay." So when I got done with school and all, I decided it was time to kick back and be on the bad vacation. So I just kind of kicked back and did my little 15-minute job for 45 cents a day and waited it out. So December 9th of 2013, my 3rd time up for parole. I'd gotten turned down twice before. This one lady on one parole board, she said, "Well, have you done the SAT program?" "No, I haven't finished it at this point." "Well, it was drugs that took your granddaughter's life, not plants, so why are you in the plant program?" That's just kind of how they talk to you. You know, your feelings aren't anything. So, December 9th, 2013, I made parole. They said, "Parole upon completion of SAT." Okay, yay! This physical nightmare is almost over. I was so happy. There's no words to tell you. But then December 27th, my daddy died. I wasn't there. I wasn't there to tell him goodbye. And you know, it's things like that you can't ever get back. You can't ever change that. So anyway, you know, all along, God is blessing me at every turn. I can stand here and make it sad and sappy and pitiful, but God was blessing me and He was with me every turn. So February 2nd, I loaded up all my little books and knickknacks and what little bit they let you acquire in that horrible place. And I got on a van and I went to Paducah, and I got on a bus and I came here to Louisville. And I went to Dismas Dearson. And that's where I met our dear Dee. at the Tuesday night church. That church meant so much to me. It was humbling to be able to serve communion. I know he remembers I love to serve communion. We had different pastors from all over the state of Kentucky that came to give us a sermon each week. And for those of you that don't know, that church is considered our church. On Tuesday night, you go to your church because that's what it is for the 6 months that you're there if you choose for it to be that way. And for me, it was my church, and I got to feel a little bit normal on Tuesday nights and a little bit loved. And so then, you know, I inched my way through that 6 months, and towards the end, Pastor Dean was talking to me about being a part of Mission Behind Bars and Beyond and being a beneficiary of this wonderful program. And I was kind of hem-hawing around because I knew where I was going, and I didn't know. And I tell this story every time I speak. I've never spoken to this many people, but every time I speak, I tell this story that Pastor Dean said, "Can you ever have too much support?" And I had to kind of duck my head and say, "No, I don't guess you can." So I signed up. I left Dearson and I went to Lexington to the Chrysalis House, which is another fabulous program. And so after I got settled in there, I met my Nurture, Support, and Accountability group. Now this is where I tear up again. So just to this day, and I've been out of my group for a little while now, but to this day it still amazes me that these people took a night out of their lives once a week, every week, without fail, for me. Me, that's it. This old gray-headed woman that has come from prison, really didn't have anything, and they came to meet with me. My wonderful and loving Louise cooked a meal for me every week, and dessert, like I needed it. And our quiet, sweet, kind Charlie Glenn, he helped her bring the stuff, and he helped clean up. Mark, I've left a little piece of this story out. They became the family that I had lost in my journey. I can't say that Linda and Louise were parents because they're not that old, but they were somewhat. And then I got Mark, who's a big brother and taskmaster, and he tried so hard to be stern, but he just didn't really ever get anything. And then Ryan was in my group, and he was like the little brother. He would give me rides to Celebrate Recovery and give me rides to AA meetings. And one night my car got towed. This was further on down the road. At 10 o'clock, I'm like, "Ryan, okay, I'm coming." Another lady that's not with us tonight, her name's Janet Pruitt, and I knew Janet from my hometown, and she's just such a quiet, gentle person, and I was so glad to have her involved. And she would give me rides back and forth to the meetings on Tuesday nights. And bless her heart, she was stuck with me, taking me back to Chrysalis House, so I kept chattering and she kept listening. She didn't have any choice. But these people were just so good to me. And Janet and Louise took me one day to Winchester. As I said, my dad had died and I hadn't got to say goodbye, so it was kind of important to me to try to close that door, you know. And so they drive me to Winchester, and it's raining, and I've got my little umbrella. I've got my letter I've written to Dad. They're sitting in the car, and I'm sitting out here under my umbrella, and I'm just reading to Daddy and just boo-hooing and crying. And get my business done, and we go out and we eat lunch, and you know, I've got this done. Well, later on when I got my freedom, come to find out Daddy wasn't there. Nobody had ever picked his ashes up and had them buried. So I'm sitting there battling to a tombstone that doesn't have anybody there. See him right in there, he's like, no, how's that? But the fact of the matter was is that they took time out of their day and dealt with this emotional wreck, you know, to help me get on with my life. So, kind of lost Mark. I don't know. Fast forward to today. I graduated Chrysalis House. So I've got 2 programs that I successfully completed for drugs and alcohol. And besides my freedom, one of the major benefits is I have my family back to a degree, my other family. My mom's still living there. We've spoken once. My son is still fudging, and we text and we talk occasionally. My Addie's mother is in my life. She came to Chrysalis House when I graduated, and she got up something like this, not just me, something like this, and she spoke about how I am her mom, and you only get one mom, and how she loves me no matter what. And I tell people, if you ever want to know what grace looks like, that's it. That's it in my world. It took a little while, but my youngest daughter, the day I moved out of Chrysalis House into my apartment, she called the night before and left a voicemail, and I had missed it. And I found it the day I was moving out. Real tentative, Mom, it's Sarah. Call me back. So since then, Sarah is in my life in a huge way. And her 2 children, Callie and Cole, they say, Mimi, Mimi, Mimi. And my heart just soars. There's nothing like, Mimi, I love you. And last October, Sarah brought our little Charlie in the world. This Willow Charleston. I call her Toodles. And I was there. After what happened? I stood there by my daughter's bed and raised her up every time she needed to push. And I was right there to see Charlie Toodles come in this world. Again, amazing grace. Amazing grace. God is so good. So, you know, like I said, I told you the sad darkness so that you can see even through the tears the light that I'm in today. Because I live in an apartment. I drive my little red Monster Miata all over Lexington. I love it. It's got a black convertible top, and I throw that top down and I'm gone. I drive to Urban and I see those babies, and my husband's gotten us approved to buy a house. And I'm off parole. I served my time. I've satisfied the state of Kentucky and Department of Corrections. I have an amazing story that I'm nervous to do it, but if my story can help somebody else, and if my story and my success can help this organization that has done so much for me and that I love so dearly, then I'll stand and cry all day long. And I want to thank each and every one of you for coming out tonight. My family, I pray, will be in my life forever and ever, amen. And I hope that you all can help this happen for other people like me. Thanks for listening.